Well, I went to Brockville. It was quite an important time because they'd been relegated to the old second division, and I was at Rangers at the time, and I had this offer to go to Nottingham Forest, and at the last minute Willie Cunningham came in and made me an offer to go to Falkirk. And one of the main reasons was Willie Cunningham, because I'd played for him at Dunfermline. But when I got there, there was a good bunch of lads there, quite a bit of experience, like George Miller and players like Craigie Watson, and we managed to get the promotion that year. And it was a terrific run. I think my first game was against East Stilton, actually. May have been East Stilton or Berwick. And we won promotion over Cowdenbeath, I think it was. And it generated a fair degree of excitement. And I could see then there was a great potential in Falkirk. Good area, quite a densely populated area. Had a good chairman, Willie Palmer, a bit of a character in Secretary Charlie Taylor. He was a wonderful old man. And it was a good bunch of players. And in the next season we had a terrific year. And that's when I first captured the sort of atmosphere that Brockville could generate. I always think of Brockville in the main stand because I always associated the main stand with the older type of person who used to go there. And whether that changed over the years, it's hard to say, but certainly in my experience there was a tremendous group of old supporters who used to congregate there every week, and it was probably their whole life actually. When you think about football clubs like that, you generally find that people are integrated into the whole fabric of a club, and they grow up with their grandfathers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters and pals, and I think that was very much Brockville of those days.
And I did enjoy the camaraderie and the atmosphere at Brockville. It was a stadium which had atmosphere. We're standing in one here in England just now. There is real atmosphere here, although it's all seated. And I always think that this is not unlike Brockville. Although there's, I've got to say, more people here at Preston come to the game, but the same kind of enthusiasm, the same atmosphere, the same electric encouragement for the team. And Falkirk, playing at Brockville, I always felt had a goal of a start because of the environment there and the enthusiasm gendered by the Bairns fans.
See, the thing with Brockville for me is, and Falkirk, as Brockville, everybody says Brockville's a dump and all that, and well, probably it is, I wouldn't argue with that. But we, as the players, it was our dump, and we know other teams didn't like coming to Brockville and things like that, and the tight pitch and sometimes the surface and things like that, and the fans on top of you, but we used that to our advantage. And it was great, we had great times, and the thing I say about Falkirk is the people I've met at the club and the players that I've got to know through the club. And even now, I went away for 5 years and now I'm back, it's still the same faces, the faces, it's all the same faces, you still see, it's all the same people in the crowd and things like that, and it's brilliant. But I've always said, and I've went on record of saying this, that I've been away and I went and played for Celtic, which is a whole different experience, and played for Hibs, and captain of Hibs for 4 years and different experience. But all my friends in football are all my ex-Falkirk teammates, and they're the ones that I keep in touch with, and that's because of the team spirit we had at the place. The team spirit was absolutely outstanding.
Brockville Memories. The end of an era. And what an era that was. Let's look back on some of those last days at our beloved Brockville and hear from the people involved. I'm Keith Hogg, a Bairn like yourself, and I often used to watch at the Cooperage Lane end. And I'll be with you during the next hour or so. Let's begin with this. Memories of Falkirk versus Hearts, January the 25th.
Well, we knew even before the game that we were in with a real chance because we played Hearts pre-season. And coming in at half time, we should have been 3-0 up. Owen missed a penalty. So that gave us confidence. So to draw them at the cup at Brockville, we were going into the game full of confidence. We were on a good run. And we knew that they would know that they were in a real hard cup tie. And on cup days at Brockville was a real great atmosphere. But I have to put a hand on heart and tell you God's honest truth that to go out and win the game the way we did, I didn't expect that. You know, me being for the other side of the city in Edinburgh, it was very pleasing. I really enjoyed it. And when I watched the television at night, it was actually, the camera was on me waving at the Hearts fans as they were leaving. It was really enjoyable. Colin Samuel that day, it was absolutely outstanding. It surprised me that Hearts played 4 at the back with his pace. They played high up the park and that suited Colin right down to the tee. And in he went, and his finishes were absolutely brilliant. And even Owen, you know, Owen always gets his goal, you know, and I was delighted and it was great. Just a great day, and I really enjoyed myself. I had a few beers that Saturday night and I really enjoyed myself.
Everybody was looking forward to the match. It was a difficult game for Hearts. We were obviously flying in the first division. It had all the hallmarks of an upset, and the game just lived up to expectations. It exploded into life. I think we hit the post in the first minute with Sammy, and from there on in, watching it, I just couldn't believe what was happening. The goals were going in. We were so far in front of Hearts, and they had a lot of quality players in their team. It was just one of those magical days at Brockville that you get again, that everybody can remember and hopefully take to the new stadium.
When we went there in the Cup recently in January, the crowd had a big major factor in boosting Falkirk, and within half an hour Falkirk were 4-0 up. And I think the crowd played a big part in that. They got behind the team right away. The atmosphere was sensational. I've seen stadiums with 60,000 in it, but albeit a small stadium packed together close to the ground, they created a massive atmosphere, and I think it just lifted the Falkirk players completely. And I think in hindsight the Hearts players got a wee bit of stage fright from it, and they shouldn't have, but that certainly made it an awesome place to go, and it's a place that will be sadly missed.
I can remember many years back that we played Hearts when Joe Jordan was the manager and we beat them 6-0. I was injured in the stand and I'd love to have played that day, but the 4-0 win in the cup, that makes up for it.
Memories of Falkirk versus Dundee, March the 22nd. This would be the first event in the countdown to departure from our old home, the last cup game ever. The next day would be the second event in that countdown, the lowering of the flag at Brockville, and the ceremonial cutting of the first sod and raising of the flag at Westfield. It is summed up in the words of John Aiken.
We are leaving old Brockville forever. Soon we will say cheerio. With fond memories we will leave Brockville, as over to Westfield we'll go. They say she's past her sell-by date, and the old lady is fallen down. With a tear in her eye, we will say goodbye. We'll be moving to Westfield quite soon.
It's a free kick taken by McLaughlin, just missed ahead of John Hughes in the 5-yard box, caught in the edge of the penalty area by Miller and crossed to Coyle, and it's a goal for Falkirk!
No, we didn't play well, but saying that when no one got to go at 1-0, I felt that we could have hung on and defended well. It was a sloppy goal we gave away, and it was, the reason I'm saying that is because we talked about it all during the week to the build up, how Caballero comes off, plays shot, and they look to spring the other two in over the top, and fullback should come in and play narrow, and that's what happened. Caballero went short. I'm sure I was close to him, marking him tight. He got a turn and played one over the top, and Jamie McLaughlin, the left back, seemed to get caught on the outside instead of on the inside, which we had been telling them all week. And they got a bit lucky. Fergie saved the first one, and it was at Novo. He saved the first one, and Novo got the ricochet and tapped it in. 1-1. Disappointing. I felt that, as I say, with home advantage, with the atmosphere at Brockville, we really could have got at them, and there was the boys were really disappointed after the game, you know, but we kept on beating record going at Brockville. That was another Premier League club that come to Brockville and couldn't turn us over, you know. So once you sit back the next game day and you analyse it, possibly it wasn't too bad a result.
This was bursting at the seams, and that just brought back a lot of memories of how Brockville was for us when we played. I've seen the crowds in there. We used to get them against Celtic, Rangers, Hearts. The Dundee game was special. People had seen obviously the Hearts score and a couple of rounds before. But Dundee were a very, very good team with some really good players. We saw that in the cup final against Rangers. Our boys took us 45 minutes to get going. We gave them far too much respect in the first half. And when we scored the goal, you could just feel the place. You could feel it bursting. Everybody was on top of you. I honestly thought we'd go on and win the game then. But we didn't do enough to win the game that day, and they deserved a draw. But I think the scoreline did matter, but just for the last cup tie ever at Brockville was something really special, and to be involved in that was a privilege.
Nae mair will we wander down Hope Street to the field where the legends have played. On a Saturday afternoon, you could hear that din. That's Falkirk just scored the offside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to represent us, the fans, Mr. Bill Anderson. Please welcome former chairman of Falkirk Football Club, Mr. Eddie Moffat. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a fantastic welcome to Falkirk's player of the millennium, Canavan MSP.
With players too numerous to mention, who sent us down memory lane, but wee Crunchy stands out, and we have nae doubt he drove our defenders insane. We'd like to remember Big Yogi as he trots on that lovely green turf. At training one day, to everyone's dismay, round Brockville he ran in the buff. The atmosphere that generates Brockville is second to none, so they say. We hope we can take it to Westfield, where the Bairns will run out there to play. The diggers are moving in shortly, and Morrison's will be setting up shop. A new dawn will be rising at Westfield, our future much brighter, we hope. So, goodbye to the old stand at Brockville, as we wander down Cooperage Lane. It's goodbye to the punters at Hope Street. Nae mair, you'll stand out in the rain. So, we're leaving old Brockville forever. Soon we will say cheerio. With fond memories we will leave Brockville, as over to Westfield we'll go.
Well, Ian's GCB is just coming onto site just now. When it comes, driven by Scotty. Let's give Ian Arbuckle a big round of applause.
We're the Bairns, and we're deadly
The first sod has been cut. The birth pangs of a new era were beginning. Here are some of the memories.
Well, the atmosphere in Brockville is something that can't be matched. My favourite memory goes back to the night playing Dunfermline, and a match at Brockville, and they'd fouled a Falkirk player in the middle of the park, gone up the park, scored, and the referee rightly ruled it off. And I've never seen so many Dunfermline fans so sick in such a short space of time. That was truly, truly sweet. The spirit of Brockville.
I was involved in a very high-profile campaign to remove a certain former board, and we organised a red card day that at half-time in the game everyone was to red card the board as they left the director's box. That game was against Airdrie, who we in those days referred to as the Force of Darkness. They had a local guy, Kenny Black, playing for them at that time, and Kenny had a fairly bad reputation of being sent off in most games against Falkirk, and true to the situation, he got himself sent off, and the sight of 3,000 red cards being raised around Brockville was one that I will live with to my dying day.
My first memory of Brockville was being taken there as a kid by my father, and Tagger McLaughlin was the only bald teenager I've ever seen in my life play football. Great memories of the place, passed down the terrace when I was younger, to sit at the front, over the barrier in the League Cup game against Hibs, and, tremendous memories, and sorry to see the old place go.
One of the strange things that has having worked for the last number of years to actually make this happen round about as a new stadium coming apart. And the strange thing is I don't really want to sit and watch football. One of the great things about Brockville is it's one of the last places where you can actually stand and watch football, and football is meant to be watched on your feet, not sitting in your bum, where you can get emotional and you can get passionate. I'll be delighted to see the new stadium built, but I'll break my heart the last day that I walk out of Brockville. I can't stand and watch the Bairns again.
I think another was, I think it was Joe Jordan was in charge of Hearts, and what ended up being his last game. Falkirk were already relegated and written off, and we always knew they were a capable side. We'd scored a lot of goals that season, and we had a magical day at Brockville where we put 6 by Hearts, and none other than Crawford Bapty, that living legend, with a hat-trick, and that was a day I'll also remember for a long, long time.
Right, cheerio, Brockville! Hello, Westfield!
The Dance on the Park. We held this dance every year from 1998. It not only helped to raise funds for the club, but it allowed fans, players and staff to meet once a year for a fantastic night out, with excellent food and games, prizes, a band, disco, a raffle and an auction.
Looking at who? Right, is that 400? Yeah, thank you. 400, thank you. 400, going once. Going 450. Thank you, sir. 450, that's more like it. Owen. 450. Now John got extra 50 quid there. Alright.
I think it's fantastic to get that sort of money. For £400 for Sammy was fantastic because, as we all know, I think as we all know, Sammy's been a revelation. At the moment, he's the club's top ghost. Oh no, he's not. Sorry. So.
Memories of Falkirk versus Arbroath, April the 19th. There was uncertainty in the air at this game against Arbroath. Could we clinch the title that day? Would the SPL allow us to go up? But one thing was sure, the machines were already beginning to take over. Half-time saw some different stars on the pitch, and as you can hear, the crowd loved it with its goals, prima donnas and dodgy tackles. Tom Elliott, the community coach, had organised the 10-second challenge for the over 35 supporters group. every half-time break of the season had entertainment ranging from cheerleaders to children's football. This time it was the big Bairns' chance to shine. Hey ref, what's going on here?
In the end, I felt we won the league by a canter, you know, but it was great to get the job done quick. And as I say, I felt there was a right subdued atmosphere. We were delighted in winning it, but I think the whole thing in the SPL hanging over us, it put a dampener on the atmosphere and it put a dampener on the celebrations.
I think it's the old style ground at Brockville. The crowd are really close to the pitch. They're on top of you. These new modern stadiums, they haven't got the same atmosphere that Brockville has. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to play in Brockville and there's been 18,000 packed in there. And you just can't imagine in the safety regulations nowadays how you could get 18,000 in. But there was never a problem with the crowd. It was just a tremendous place to play in. And I'm sure teams coming to Brockville didn't relish coming knowing that the crowd was going to be there right on top of them. You can actually hear everything that's shouted at you. Whereas you go to the bigger grounds like Arbroath, Parkhead, it's a massive crowd. There could be 40 or 50,000 there at these grounds. But you're so far away from the crowd, you can't hear the personal shout, so to speak. At Brockville, you heard everything that was aimed at you.
This was to be the very last Falkirk victory at Brockville and meant that they were unbeatable in the First Division.
I hate sitting there. I want to stand up. I want to jump when the team scores or somebody does something really good. I want to do that. But for somebody to tell you to sit down, you can't do that. That's not what football's about. You get these kids, they're 3 feet nothing, and they're standing there with their heads just over the barrier. That's what football's about. These kids, they'll stand at that barrier or they should do for 30 years, 40 years. You know, that's part of their life. Like going to school just now, they go there on a Saturday. You know, to me that's what football's about. We knew we were going to win the game, but until we scored the first goal, we wouldn't be able to relax. And then once we got the goals, I thought the whole picture just changed. All the boys relaxed, they seemed to be enjoying the game. And then obviously, Coley scored the hat-trick, I think he did. All his goals were fantastic, you know, and it's just the fans, it was party time for the fans. But I still thought it was a funny atmosphere. You know, it was weird. You're winning the league title, but you weren't jumping about crazy. You know, it was funny.
To all the supporters, you've been wonderful, as Owen says, for the last 10 months. You've backed us, good, bad, and indifferent. You've stuck by us. Ginger like a goalie start to us. I just hope when we move to the new stadium that we can take the same atmosphere down there, because, as I say, as a Ginger, a goalie start. Thanks very much. Cheers.
I have to say this, the funny thing about it, there was a real kind of strange, bizarre kind of atmosphere. You know, I felt that amongst the supporters and even amongst the players. You know, we know we had a job to go and finally go and clinch the title. And we did. It was a very bumpy pitch, it was blowing a gale. And in football it's ironic that it flings up things that like you leave a team and you go and sign for another team, and the first team you play against the old team that you left, and it just so happened that the team that we were playing against to win the title was Arbroath, the team that relegated Falkirk the year before. You know, so that got mentioned in the dressing room.
Open nights were held on the 29th of April and the 6th of May, giving fans a chance to look round Brockville and see many parts that were normally inaccessible. Michael White told the story of the club, and guided tours were conducted by Brian Guthrie and Alistair Ferry.
This was taken just outside Brockville because in those days when the club started,
Brockville didn't look anything like it does today. It was more or less just an open field, and it was rented from a local farmer for £4 a year. Falkirk played in local leagues in central Scotland, and they were a very, very strong team indeed. And about this time, the Scottish League came into existence, and people were saying...
This glass trophy next to it is one of the 2 Challenge Cups we won. And there's small other bowls and trophies from competitions. In the cabinet are mainly souvenirs and medals won by players and replicas of cup competitions, invitation competitions, things like that. Unfortunately, we don't have the replica of the Scottish Cup here tonight. It seems to be in safekeeping somewhere else. On a Saturday, this is where the board hang out. All the men with the money, they come in for a cup of tea and a wee drink, and this is where all the decisions are made. And this is where the trophies lie.
And just coming back to Falkirk and walking through Brockville again, and it was like walking into a time warp. Nothing had changed, you know. Even the same holes in the ceiling, and even the same tiles falling off the bathroom wall, and nothing had changed. And it was like, but I was used to it, you know. I wasn't coming into anything new. I was used to it, and just had a spring in my step coming back to the place.
In these rooms, the players would exercise and do their weight training. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. The harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. They would also receive physiotherapy for any injuries.
I can remember doing the deal with Ian McCall when I was in his office, and he says, I can give you this and I can give you that. And I've never played football for money. Maybe it's a fault of mine, you know. And I says to Ian, he says, that's what I can give you. And there was never any chance of me I was going to walk out and say, I'm not signing that. But I had a bit of fun with him, and I said, I can't sing with that. And I had his desk up with the 2 hands, I can't sing with that. And the 2 of us were laughing. He said, right, just sing there.
It was fascinating looking in to think how many great men had held office here and how many great players they had signed. This is the home team dressing room, where the players would prepare themselves before running out for a game on Brockville's lovely green turf. And arguably the most talked about man in the game, the referee, would return here afterwards. Later, photo sessions were held in the park to give fans the chance to be immortalised with their favourite players.
It was one New Year's game, and it was a pipe band. I think it could have been Muirheads, and they marched up the pitch in perfect formation, and it became quite obvious that the guy in the big bass drum was slightly the worse for wear. So they went up here and turned, and the drummer missed the turn. So one of his pals went back to get him, put him back in line, and they marched straight up towards the goals at the Hope Street end. By this time, he'd lost all sense of direction, and as the band turned to come back up the field, they left the drummer collapsed over the big bass drum, and the guys up in the stand who were with us, the tears were streaming down their face.
You know the window that's on the side of the house across there? That used to be Jim Norville's house. And Struthers, the groundsman of Brockville, lived down the bottom floor, bottom flat. Bob Struthers, aye.
See, when Bob Struthers actually done the grounds, you know, had a wonderful bit of turf out there. And so much so that he was in big demand, and Rangers wanted to take him through the Ibrox, but he said no. And I remember one day I said to him, Bob, I said, how do you get your grass to grow like that? He said, well, I sprinkle it with hops out of the brewery. I said, really? He said, well, by doing that it comes up half cut.
You just sat with your legs over the bottom bar and leaned on the top bar, and that's how you saw the game. And the pipe band was there every Saturday, the blanket going round, and half the kids in Falkirk fall on the blanket to get their pocket money.
Rangers were winning 5-4, and it was stoppage time. The ball came across, and the Falkirk centre forward hit the Rangers goalie and ball into the net. And the referee awarded a goal and then it almost blew instantly for time up, and they were going absolutely mental. 5-5, that was some game.
Memories of Falkirk versus Inverness, May the 10th. The VIP marquee. Walking in there on the 10th of May 2003 was like walking into a Falkirk supporter's dream. You didn't even have time to get through the door before you bumped into a legend. Several generations of Brockville stars having their final lunch at a ground that had been the club's permanent home since 1885. We waited for a while just watching and thinking about the past, remembering the great games that these men had been involved in.
All right, Berry. Great to see you. Great. Do you?
A great wee club to play for, and we were reasonably successful at these days. And it was more a family club than anything else, and we enjoyed it. I think that's right.
Putting the money in the game then, but it was great. We enjoyed our time here. Absolutely fabulous. Johnny says the atmosphere was tremendous, and everybody knew everybody else. It was really good.
It's like a compact stadium, you know, and the amount of players we've seen coming, especially myself, we've seen coming and going here, you know, through the years. Been with Johnny for the first game, and Larry Wilson, then Andy, and you know, Kevin McAllister, Gary Gillespie, Alan Irvin. They've all progressed from the club, and I'll be sad to see the place go. It's a compact stadium. It was always a great atmosphere. It was always great to play there. It's a sad day, but I hope things can progress from here.
I suppose for me, it was probably the fans were that close to you, it created a good atmosphere. And personally speaking, I always liked playing at Falkirk. A lot of people have had reservations about coming to Falkirk, saying it was in a bad way, in that bad state, but I always enjoyed playing at Falkirk. In fact, it wouldn't bother me if they kept the grounds, they just left it standing, you know.
It was a great pleasure to play here for 6.5 seasons. Flourished obviously under the man standing over there, Jim Jefferies. Times at the club, memories, maybe the best player I'd ever played with at the club at the time was Simon Stainrod. Kevin McAllister then came along. Had a lot of good friends now through playing here. It's a very sad day, but at the end of the day we need a new stadium. They've worked very hard for it. I still think they should be allowed to go up this season. That's only my opinion. But as I say, very good times here. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a sad day to see the old stadium going.
Great atmosphere there, especially when you've got a good away support as well. Like say when Rangers and Celtic came in that. Good times, I must admit. But no one like Upland Park, because West Ham was the same, where the crowd was right on top of you. A lot of stadiums like say, when you go like St Johnstone now and that, the fans are sort of set back, so you didn't get the same feeling.
My memories of this club, very good. Best club I was ever at. I was only at 2, but Falkirk is really a homely club. Family, real family. And this was my favourite player.
Well, I was very lucky to play here. I was one of the greatest teams that ever played for Falkirk. And what I've enjoyed over the years is the amount of times we get together. I played for Falkirk, Liverpool and Dundee, and we've had a couple of reunions at Dundee. But this Falkirk Football Club, I joined when I was 17. I think they must be one of the most family-orientated clubs. And the atmosphere is, over these years, has been fantastic. And to meet up with all these great guys again, it's just sad that it's on this occasion when there will be no more Brockville. But progress has got to be made. I'm sure the club will go on to even greater things in the future.
Oh, great, tremendous memories. I come as a wee kid, and obviously they're my heroes here, you know. When I won the cup in 57, was all the games and that, was absolutely brilliant, great. So to see them today is tremendous, really great, brilliant.
It's a physical closeness, you know, you're very close to your neighbour when you're sitting in the same bit of the stand or standing in the same bit of the terracing. And I think that many of the players, famous players even, have remarked on how close the spectators are to the players at Brockville. Maybe someone complained they were a bit too close. And I think that maybe led to the term Fortress Brockville. And there was almost an intimidation on the part of some of the visitors, and I don't mean that in any unkind way, in any physical intimidation or anything, but just the proximity of the spectators to the players, and the players sometimes said they could actually smell the spectators, and maybe that made a difference, and a great atmosphere. But as I say, I think we've got to look to the future now, and I'm sure that Falkirk will go on to great things.
We're running a book in the SNP to see whether I'll cry or not. Yeah, and I've got a tenner on 10 to 5, tears flowing. I think most people will be the same.
I was just sports editor of the Herald for many years, and I brought my two sons up to be the same way, Falkirk fanatics, rather than follow the old firm. And this is one of the saddest days. I go back to 1940 when I was 7-year-old. So when you support a team for 63 years and you see your ground disappear before your eyes, very sad, a very emotional day. But never mind, we'll roll again at Westfield, and the team will always be there. And the team is bigger at the end of the day than the ground. And Falkirk Bairns will live forever.
It's really a very emotional day for those of us who have supported Falkirk for so many years, to think that we'll no longer come along to the Hope Street end at Brockville and cheer on Falkirk. But things have to move on, and a new stadium will be a new start for the football club. So it's been an absolutely magical location to have a football club play, but we need to move on, and I think everyone accepts that.
Yeah, it's sad to see it being demolished, but you know, the good comes out of it. They've got a brand new stadium to look forward to. But I think Brockville over the years has been a situation where it was one of their biggest assets. No team relish coming here, and you can see over the years a number of shock results that have been caused in football, and it'll be sad to see it go. For all it was slated for its facilities, it was still a decent pitch most of the time, and you know, created a great atmosphere. And that'll be something that's sadly missed at a lot of grounds with new stadiums now and all seaters. So, but great memories, and they'll always stick with me.
Later, we wandered down to the Bairns beer tent to see what was going on and talk to some more fans, and to partake in Budweiser while listening to a few songs.
The next season, we're looking forward to the next season. Asked me, I had a trial with Falkirk at one time. 1972, we didn't make the grade. He used to wear George Gibson's boots and he got around for it.
And when you're age 6 and 7, coming through Alma Lane, and on the way up in the game on a Saturday at 3 o'clock, nicking apples for the actual other side of the fence, bringing the apples onto the game, and then actually enjoying the apples when you're watching Wally Wigham and John Lambie and people like that playing.
60 year of a season ticket at Brockville.
But you've got to move forward with time. We've got a monoblock stadium with no atmosphere, but
The Falkirk support will create an atmosphere. What more can you ask for?
I'll have a tear in my eye at the end of the game today.
We're talking about the car park there because there's goals actually. I mean, Falkirk used to train in that car park. The goals are still there. The goals are actually still there. If you see it behind the porter cabin, there's still a set of goals, and you can actually see where they used to train. You know, great memories.
If the SPL were here, they would give us absolutely no chance because you've got 8,000 people turning up, enjoying their football, having a great afternoon. Everything the SPL is opposed to. They don't want people to enjoy football, they just want to make money. We want people to enjoy their football, come along and have a great time. That's what Falkirk fans go to the games for. That's what we're doing today. And that's what we will do tonight.
All the best to the Bairns next year, and I'll be back up from England for the first game at the new stadium as well.
I think my first game was back in 1971, a cup game against Aberdeen when Falkirk won 3-1. Tremendous night that was. I've been back a few times since, but couldn't have missed this one today. Looking forward to being back. Looking forward to a good result today as well.
I once saved a penalty from Sammy Wilson, who played for Northern Ireland at the time. So it brings back memories coming back here today.
Who were you playing with, Falkirk?
Falkirk youngsters, aye. I was 15 at the time.
We'd long spoken about it, and we were about to witness the very last game ever at Brockville. Oh, and there was Jim Dawson. There was Robert Miller too, known to everyone as Hoppy, who saw many of the greats in the 28 years that he was the kit man. Jim had looked after this pitch for 9 years. That day, Hoppy was waiting on the field with some other great names to witness this piece of history. But wait, not only did we win the First Division trophy, we also won the Reserve one too. What a year that's been for us. It was also the day when Big Yogi would enter the Hall of Fame. He certainly merited that, and how fantastic it was for it to happen on the day of the last ever game, the last of the Brockville greats. One big question in everyone's mind was, can we go away unbeaten? But whatever happened, this would be a unique occasion, and by 5 o'clock, a very emotional one.
Well, I've been a student for Falkirk 16 years, you know, since the first time they got promoted to the Premier League.
I've been working on and off here since I was about 14, I think. So, yeah, it's sad to see it go.
I don't do it for the money, I do it for the love of the club.
I'm not a steward today. I used to do the stewarding here with colleague here, and I'm not doing it today because I want to watch the game, because they're getting presented with a trophy and we'll be able to jump about, cheer and all that. You wouldn't be able to do it if you were working.
I seen Crawford Baptist scoring a hat-trick in the Premier League when he played in the club. Kevin McAllister, another great player, my favourite of mine. Yogi, another great favourite. Too many favourites.
When I sold the programmes, when I had short trousers on, and when they had the winning ticket and they produced it there, they produced a ticket out their head, and I had the programmes at half time, and I made myself a £5. At the end of the day, I'd maybe make myself about £8, and my dad was only making £12 a week then.
You stole the
and
money.
I was HAPPY.
You stole the money.
Aye, and I went to the Band of Hope, and that's what the song I was singing. I'm sure I am. Aye, and that was on a Saturday I sang it.
But the last game against Inverness was very emotional. Obviously, the last ever game at Brockville and the 7,500, and obviously the highlight for ourselves was walking around doing a lap of honour, if you like, the Hall of Fame lads at half time, and they received a tremendous ovation from the fans, you know, and that was very, very enjoyable.
The Hall of Fame. George Craig called them all onto the pitch for the last time. Tommy Murray, Bert Slater, George Merchant, Alec Parker, Johnny Graham, Willie Wigham, Wilson Hoggan, George Watson, John Markey, Andy Nichol, Neil Oliver, Sammy McGivern, Scott McKenzie, Crawford Bapty, Jim Jefferies, manager of the Millennium, and Alec Totten, player, manager and director of football. They were there to say a last farewell to the field they had known and loved so well. Unfortunately, player of the Millennium, Kevin McAllister, couldn't be there. He was involved in a match that day. How privileged we were when making this film to walk around that field with names like these.
Aye, well, I was in about 10 o'clock in the morning and the place was alive then. People running about doing everything. It was unrecognisable in the corridors because all the pictures were took down, all the memorabilia was gone, and it just felt empty inside. Went out onto the pitch at 12 o'clock, me and Ian McIntyre, we took some photographs in the goals and in the stands. It's something you'd never do in a match day, you know, you're usually totally focused. But it was an unreal experience, and it was a very sad day. You say sad because you know you're never going back there. But we'd won the league and we wanted to go out with a bang. Trying to get the boys to do that was easy. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in the day for whatever reasons. That's done and dusted now. No point in looking back on that. But the fans there, from start to finish, and even at 5:45, I went on the pitch and there were still people there. There were still people in there singing and dancing and crying. You know, it was just a right emotional day. With Full Club.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. To tell you the truth, by then the players were very, very tired. I'm not making it. I've never been one to make excuses. I feel like you put a strip on, you just got on with it. But the week prior to that, we had a right few injuries, and I think there was only about 6 or 7 players training that whole week. McPherson was struggling. Wee Hadji was struggling with a hamstring. John Henry had been struggling for 2 or 3 weeks prior to that with a foot injury. Taylor had done a fitness test in the morning. He was struggling with a hamstring. Davy Nichols was struggling. So the boys were desperate to play. You know, it was a great atmosphere. I wish I was struggling with a rib injury. I wish I could have went out there and played, but I'm determined to hold on to the unbeaten record at Brockville. We always say we felt it would have been fitting if the club had went the whole season unbeaten, especially with Brockville coming down the last year at Brockville, and we were a real determination to go and do that. The game started well, you know. We really were in control of the game. We got 2 good goals, Taylor, and but Inverness were never out of it, and I felt we got a little bit lucky with the boy went clean through and Davy Nichols brought him down. I felt that might have been a sending off.
The crowd was ecstatic. The air was electric. The moment had arrived. Scott Mackenzie and Kevin James received the cup for the Bairns.
No, I was absolutely gutted. It was all my family were at the last game. Obviously they'll get the trophy now and 2 kids were there, so it would have been lovely for me to be in the part of the shots. No, I felt that was another funny thing. No, I had my tracksuit on and then at half time I was doing the Hall of Fame thing. It was funny walking in the park with all the Falkirk legends. You know, I didn't realise it until I sat back up in the stand and said, look, this guy's played for Scotland and this guy's done that guy's done that, you know. It's unbelievable, you know what I mean? It doesn't sink in. Like, you're walking in the park with all these legends and the ex-managers, Jim Jefferies and the Totties and all that, you know. It was really good. It's something I can look back and look at my wee boy can look back and, you know. So that was, and it was fantastic to get my wee boy in the park after the game, but as I say, it wasn't the same because I didn't have any shots. I hadn't took part in the game. The atmosphere, no, but obviously fantastic for life, seeing the game on the park. You know.
We'd set out a way back 10 months previous when all the hard work and all the pre-season and you set out to go and win the first division. It made it all worthwhile, you know, to know that everybody stuck together through the highs, through the lows. Players picking up injuries, Andy Laurie, Kevin James, players playing with injuries, digging in for each other, the fans coming out and supporting us, losing our management team and still digging in there, and to come right out at the end of it and know, as I say, all the work and all the highs and all the lows that's went on through the season, eventually you're able to put your hand on that first division title, and it really feels a great sense of achievement, not just for the players, for the supporters. I've always said that we're the players, we get the opportunity to put the strip on, but all the supporters that are standing in the terracing and in the stands, I guarantee you they would love that opportunity. So you should feel proud to be wearing the jersey and feel privileged that the supporters come out and support you, and but we've gave them in return what they wanted. We gave them the first division, and it was great. It was great. It was a great day and a great achievement, and it goes down in the history books.
So just stand over there.
a wonderful day, it's also been a very trying day. What have we got there in there?
Now the end is near. We face the final curtain. We're blue, we're white, and we're rather good at dynamite. No bad lives today, it's been a family day, it's been great. A lot of memories here. It's going to be really, really sad to leave. But I don't really want to leave just now yet, not yet. It's been great, the old place has served us well. Pity Mr. Dallas wouldn't conspire to help us with us all today, but never mind.
My final appearance in Brockville, and we had to lose.
Sorry to go,
It's very sorry to go, yeah. I've got very mixed emotions right now. But, it's been good for me over a number of years. I've enjoyed it. Can't say much more just now.
Oh, it's bizarre.
It's really sad, weird. I suppose, you know what, that's just life. Progress, I suppose. Got to move on.
We go over the wires.
And so the end has come. When faced with the inevitable, why not just smile?
Number one is the centre spot. Centre spot.
We'd appreciate if you could turn off any mobile phones so that the drums here. Always like that.
Quarter out, show you guys what everything is. £20, we've got to sell it. £20, 25. £50 over here at 50. You told me you were bidding. You go back in again, no man. Surely £20, the flagpole. Any advance on 100 is going to be sold. And £100. Surely somebody will lend you £2 if you want. So you really were thinking. There is a supporter out going to be running all over the place. £70 in the middle.
The sale raised around £22,000 for the club.
160 quid.
160, is that the top price paid for a
that was the first one, I believe, yeah.
Maybe you should just tell us we stand in front of the
That's it, aye, somebody did it.
In fact, I have got one.
I've also bought 30 square metres of turf. Doing my front lap garden. So I'm preserving a piece of living history, I would say.
11 seats.
11 seats.
3 sections of Hope Street.
And the carpet from the
carpet on the carpet suite for £10.
10 metres by 3 metres.
What door's that? Oh, that was one of the doors we used to walk through years ago when we first came here. Then we went up to the stand. That's this is for my father-in-law, this.
How much do you pay for that?
£10.
The urinal from the main stand. For some reason, the treatment room door and sign, and one of the cash and season ticket signs for the Hope Street Terrace. And so that was when I was one. So I was quite pleased to get that.
What did you pay for that one?
It was a good deal actually. I got the first one that came out, so I got that for 130, and the last one went for 260. So worked well getting in early.
What did you pay for your sign there?
£200.
£200?
£200, yeah.
What are you going to do with it?
Sorry?
What are you going to do with it?
It's going into my house in my downstairs hall. Put it on myself.
Well, the diggers did move in, and Morrison's would be soon setting up shop. and while Westfield's new dawn and our bright future awaited us, Brockville was fast becoming a memory.